Welcome back, y'all. This is the Bluechip Breakdown, and I'm your host, Bull. Today, we're going to be early scouting UGA. We've talked a lot about Tennessee's upcoming season, but, we started off with Syracuse, kind of breaking them down. We're going to do the same thing for UGA. This is a big one, right? This is the third game of the season. This opens up SEC play for both of these teams. So Tennessee, starts the season off with Syracuse. Then we get, I think, East Tennessee State. Then we get to host Georgia. Georgia's schedule is going to be Marshall. Then it's Austin Peay. Then it's us. Then after our game, they have a bye. Then they get Alabama. After our game with UGA, we have UAB. Then we have to go to Starkville to face Mississippi State. But, this is the one that's going to show us. We talked a lot about both of these teams maybe being, I would say, two of the maybe three teams in the SEC that we don't really know if they have a baller playing a quarterback. I feel like Tennessee has a much better chance to actually have that than UGA does. But anyway, we're going to get into it, y'all. Please do make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. And I want to kick it off right here, taking a look at these rosters kind of side by side. So this is the depth chart for Tennessee. Hopefully y'all can't see it, but this is showing you, what the caliber is for all these players. Of course, the ratings, it all comes from 24/7 Sports. So Tennessee's offense has a total of 21 blue chip caliber players that will be 4 or 5-star guys. And you can see that there's a lot of youth. So the players that are in like that pink purple color, that's going to be the true freshmen. The players that are in like that gold orange looking color, that's going to be the new transfer portal players. So, this is there's a lot of youth on Tennessee's offense. And, of course, having a guy like, Joey coming in from App State, you have to wonder how's he going to be able to handle this type of a situation. But, of course, since the game is in Neyland, you have to feel like, Neyland should be good for like a turnover or two. It's going to be quiet whenever we're on offense, and it should be just deafening. It should be a totally different level of loud whenever Georgia's on defense. So I think that'll help us out, obviously on both sides of the football. But hopefully y'all could see everything that we have up here. We have everything, it's kind of broken down by how many 5-stars and all that good stuff as well. Now, this is UGA's. Okay, so this is it's showing you first string, second string, third string, fourth string, fifth string, if they have it. But this right here, man, we're talking about an offense with this. Well, I'm sorry, this is Georgia's defense. So the defense has 39 blue chip caliber players. It's loaded. I mean, you look at their starters, every single one of them blue chip. So I mean, even like they're too deep. I mean, they're super loaded. But that's common for UGA. You know what I'm saying? Like everyone wants to crown Kirby Smart. They say, man, he is just such a phenomenal coach. But he can build a team. Can he really coach? I mean, if your roster looks like this, it should be hard to lose. I mean, it should be really hard to lose. So I don't buy into this whole notion that he's some like genius. I just don't see that. But either way, this is how things look for them. Obviously, their front, they're just everywhere. It's just loaded. But they've got some real dudes just on paper. Now let's take a look at Tennessee's defense. Y'all can see where we're at here. We've got a total of looks like 27 blue chip caliber players here. So Tennessee, from top to bottom, I think we've got like 48 blue chip caliber players on this roster based off of 24/7 Sports. And the front seven, the front four for us is just ridiculous. I mean, it is absolutely outstanding. And the secondary on paper doesn't look that good. Y'all can see how safety looks. That's why I said, hey, that's kind of a problem. Wide receiver, y'all saw not that much depth, kind of a problem. But we'll go on to the next one and we'll take a look at Georgia's offense. So you can see with their wide receivers, right? Like there's just so much more depth with how they're built. They've got a lot of players. They had a lot of them last season, but they also had the most drops in the SEC. Them in Texas was tied. Tennessee was actually second. So they have a total of looks like 38 down there. It's hard for me to even see it, but it looks like it's about 38 blue chip players total for their team. They've got 75. So that's just with this. I think that they've got some blue chip players that are like kickers and punters and stuff like that. I mean, everybody on their team, very, very highly rated, most of them. Anyway, but 75, man, last year they were at 69 last season. Now they're at 75. So obviously they've gained some. Tennessee was at 41. Now we're at about 48. You know what I'm saying? And just kind of like give or take a couple players here and there. But obviously, this is a kind of a similar situation to what we talked about with us versus Syracuse, where there is a big gap in the talent. It's not as big as it was with us versus Syracuse, but I'm going to go ahead and chime in with the chat, see what everyone's talking about, and then we're going to jump into the film. So this is what's going on, bro? Happy, thank you for joining us. Happy to see you in here. This one right here saying, yo, hope y'all have a good day. Yes, likewise. And the Georgia game is very winnable. Yeah, I think it is too. I think that is an excellent point. So what we're going to do now, y'all, is go on ahead and jump into the film. Let me see what this one right here says. All right, cool. So happy to see y'all talking us out of the chat. So I'm gonna jump into the film, and it's gonna be tough for me to, see what y'all are saying. So I'm gonna come back and forth and try to chime in with the chat. But this is from last year. Now, just to kind of set the stage for this game, we know that Georgia's coming off of the loss, I think, to Ole Miss. So this was a must-win situation. It's at the end of the year. Absolute must-win. The game's in Athens, and no one was picking Tennessee to even have a chance in this game. Most people weren't. P and I said, hey, we have as good of a chance as anybody else did. If Ole Miss can do it, we're built very similar to what Ole Miss has. That was the one thing that people were talking about. They said, man, Tennessee's pass rush, that might be a problem with this Georgia offensive line, but they actually ended up getting back. They got back Tate Ratledge, who I think was their best offensive lineman last year. So that definitely helped them out. But we're going to kick it off, y'all. This is 1st and 10. Start the game off. First play. You see that they have they're in 12 personnel, so they got 2 tights. Overload on one side, Tennessee showing 1 high. With Georgia, man, I think that what you really want to do is, play a whole lot of man, because they don't have quarterbacks that are freaking ballers. So also with Georgia, part of the reason I want to go back to this film is because we know that they're not going to change a dadgum thing. Let me just tell y'all that right now. Kirby Smart, Bobo, they ain't going to change. Georgia has pretty much been the same team for like 40 or 50 years. They are who they are. Now, the one thing that I'll say, going backwards with sticking to the run, whenever you think about Georgia back in the day, hey, this is a team that can run the football down your throat. They couldn't do it last year. So what do you do here? You double dog freaking dare these guys to beat you down the field with quarterbacks that are going to stand in there like statues in a pro style, wannabe pro style type of offense. I cannot wait to see these guys. Please don't get me fired up. But what they want to do here, right? So with the opening drive, it's always scripted. But what they're trying to do is they want to go to Ricky Gibson. They want to test our cornerbacks because Tennessee, we ain't like UGA and Kirby Smart where he has to give his cornerbacks help over the top. We ain't scared to let our guys man up on islands. So they know that, hey, this guy down at the bottom, he's an absolute stud. You know what I'm saying? This guy right here, this is we know. But let's test this other guy. Let's see if he can get it done. So this is what they do to start this off. Tennessee's bringing pressure. And also, and I'm going to have to go back and show you this. We might be able to see it from the other angle better. So, of course, we're able to lock that up. Let's go on to this next angle. I want for y'all to watch Boo because Boo's going to be guarding this tight end right here. But watch what happens. And actually, it was the other one. But you see how he gets killed off of the line of scrimmage? I don't think that that's going to happen coming up here in 2025. But look at this coverage, dog. Like, what y'all thought? That y'all could just go at my dog, Ricky? No. We play football over here. We ain't scared of nobody. So this is a 2nd and 10. Take it to the sideline copy. All right. So you see what they're doing here. They've got tight end down at the bottom. This looks like this is, I think this is 11 personnel. They like to do the pre-snap motion. Let's see if we can run it. We getting penetration like you would not believe. Watch us whip these guys. Watch us whip them on this line of scrimmage. Watch this here. Let's see. Who is it? Is it Bryson Eason? Bryson Eason, who's going to be back? Look at that. Bryson Eason. I mean, come on, dog. Look at this. Watch Bryson Eason. Quick penetration. We just got to close now. I think that we'll be able to do that better. All right. We got Don Bailey. He might be starting a strong side. Does a pretty good job of setting the edge there. Then we got Andre Turrentine. He's back coming down filling, right? Run support, filling. We got to do a little bit better getting held here. This is Jeremiah Thielander. They're going to blow this guy up, bro. Blow him up next season. I want people getting knocked out. All right. I don't want people to get injured, but I want them to feel the pain. All right. So we're going to go on to the next one. For those of y'all that don't know, I absolutely hate Georgia with a furious passion. So right here, man, they're going with 2. So they've got a running back in the backfield with that tight end. Now they're trying to go down bottom in a one-on-one situation. Notice that all their throws, it's quick. It's 3-step drop. Let's just throw it up quick because, like we said, Ole Miss was killing them with the pass rush. So they're scared for their life, coach. I think we probably could have blitzed more. What's the coverage? Hard to tell what this coverage is. Looks like this might have been 6. Looks like we got 4 down bottom, maybe 2 up top. Okay. So, of course, that's a poorly thrown football by an overrated quarterback that everybody says, he's the reason. And, the guy that I have in now, Gunnar Stockton, he ain't even as good as Carson Beck. He gets a little bit of pressure down at his ankles. That's it's not horrible, but it's not a horribly thrown ball, but he ain't some juggernaut like folks try to make him out to be. All right, so now we're on offense. All right. I believe, yes. Okay, so now we're on offense. Y'all see what we're doing here, spreading it out like we always do. Move the running back over to the other side, move and throw him out to the flats. So what y'all are going to see, I don't know with who was calling plays for Tennessee in this game, but it felt like it was somebody different. So if Halsey called the plays all year long, I feel like Coach Heupel called him in this one. Or maybe if Heupel was calling them all year long, maybe Halsey called it here. Maybe it was one of those young GAs or something. Either way, this, first couple of drives, you want to talk about how the Tennessee offense is supposed to look. We do it every single year versus UGA. We always have a beautiful script. Look at what they're doing, though. Look at their defense. They're going to do the same thing. All right. We talk about this mint front, which is what they're running, right? Mint front. They're playing, looks like this is quarters coverage. It might be some type of a cover 3 seam. The whole point is that they're staying deep. Tennessee likes to run the option routes. They're going to say, hey, your option is going to be underneath. We're going to come up and we're going to make tackles. We're going to force you to dink and dunk all the way down the field. So this is what they try here. Look at the route combinations. We're spreading things out there. So we're getting this guy out of the flats, him right there, because of this running back. We're kind of running things off there. Then we're going to sit it down, I believe, right there, if I'm not mistaken. Wide open. Passes on time. That's an easy first down. Let's keep it moving. See it again from this angle. All right. You're sitting there showing everybody's high safeties are starting to creep down, trying to show us a light box come down late. Cowards. They're out there playing coward ball. They don't want to play straight up football. They don't want to do that versus us. I cannot wait for this game. All right, here we go. Next play. So we got the tight end as an H-back. What are we doing here? Running it. We're running it right at him inside zone. That's a good job by, looks like D-Samp getting back to the line of scrimmage. Let's see what happens with our offensive line here. So, they're running this. My goodness. So Cooper Mays is going to get tossed here. So Coop right here, he's going to end up getting tossed. That's the one thing about Georgia that I will give him a lot of credit for. These 3 guys are usually dogs, especially this one. So that's going to be set next year. You're going to have to, give him a little bit of help if you can, but that's a good job by Dylan Sampson in a situation where he's got to run through a guy that's 350, pounds, something like that. He's got to try to get back to that line of scrimmage. Gets, I would say, +1. But this is what I like to see. John Campbell. Look at big John Campbell right here. After the whistle, we can't wait to get after y'all, baby. Love that. All right, next play. Next play. And listen, y'all, you're going to have to run some stuff like that. Like, you're going to have to keep them honest. You got to run inside zone. I think next year we're going to see a lot more outside zone. I think we'll see some inside of this film. So inside zone. Oh, dang, it looks like that one actually popped a little bit. Looks like he's going to pop. Okay, yep. So that was a 3rd and short. Playmakers making plays. We have the backs to do that this year, y'all. I would argue that I think we do. I think that these guys want to get out here and play some ball. The offensive line is doing a good job holding up. We're not getting much push. Georgia's going to set a wall here. We're not getting much push. They're, floating this guy around, trying to throw us off with the blocking. He's, going back and forth, trying to throw off what the offensive line's doing. Dude, this is an inside zone. If you show up to our zone, we're going to block you. If not, it really doesn't matter. Like, it's stuff like that people talk about with Kirby Smart being a genius. That was all for naught. That had no bearing on this play, sir. All right, on to the next one. So we got that first down. That was a huge play. So now we're motioning guys out like that. Georgia's bringing some pressure. We got people wide, stinking open. All right, so we got wide out here. Tight ends kind of hidden there. So, spread this guy out there. We know, hey, Georgia's playing quarters, guys. Everyone's playing off, which means that this tight end is going to be open down there, right? He's going to be open because this guy would be the one who has to cover him. So wide open in this situation. And of course, they're doing that overload blitz that they love to do. These guys love to bring these linebackers to one side. So they try to get some pressure on us. Great job getting the football out. It's accurate. Almost got the first. Might have got the first there. Let's see it again. I can't stand these guys, y'all. See about the blocking here. We got Andre Carrick. That's a good job kind of holding up. But my goodness, do we think Wendell Moy might do a little bit better here next year? I think so. Also, take a look at your boy. Take a look at your boy Lance. Stonewalling. All right. Let me see. Which way did I just go? All right. So we'll skim. Good job getting the ball out quick, getting up the field. That's close to a first. Let's see what it says right here. Let me get this out of the way. Yeah, 1st and 10. And actually, I'm gonna pause this now. Let me go into the chat and make sure that I've got everybody, that everyone can see what we're doing here. Let me see. Okay, so I'm gonna chime in with this chat in just a minute. Let me get through with this drive, and then we're gonna come back. I just want to make sure that everything was still working. All right, so we're seeing the same thing from these doggone dogs. They just want to show you a bunch of deep looks. They're showing 3 deep here. They're saying throw it underneath. And Ole Miss, same offensive system. What they do? A bunch of slants, whole bunch of slants from their guys. I think the Tennessee could have done a whole lot of that. We got the H-back, the tight ends in the backfield there, showing some strong right. And let me see. We're trying to maybe draw them off sides here. Okay, so that looks like RPO. RPO, we like how it looks out there. That is a great catch. The ball could have been a little, placed a little bit better. That's why having these shorter wideouts, sometimes it is difficult, especially for a really tall quarterback. But watch Squirrel White here. We already knew, hey, he's wide open. Like we said with Ole Miss, these guys are going to be running a bunch of, they ran a bunch of slants. Why not run a hitch? You can run hitches. You can run slants because Georgia did kind of learn, hey, let's kind of split the difference better here. But, you give him that run action, make him kind of bite on that. You got the wide open guy right there. That's a really tough catch by Squirrel White. So good job here. Holding up, get it out fast. Beautiful. We're going right down the field. I want to run the ball right down their daggone throws. What is it? Second and looks like this might be a first down. Looks like this might be a first down. Okay, play action. Going deep. And that's a great time to call it. Once you get to the middle of the field here and you know that they're playing a bunch of quarters, hey, this deep stuff, this is open. We know that they're staying deep, but we can run past them. Their cornerbacks ain't that daggum great. So let's run right past them. Let's see if we can hit this, right? So quarters, okay, they're all playing their deep fourth right there. Okay, and then, we got running some crossing patterns. Love to see that. Might have had a guy here too, but this was pre-snap. Okay, we got one-on-one up top. We're going to it. They tried to play off of us, and what happens? Throw it up for grabs. What happens? They're going to flag you because these guys panic. They're not used to playing real one-on-one coverage. Let me see if I can get back to. Hold on, y'all. Which one? I think that we might have went back a little bit too far. That's on me. Let me see. Gotta get it back. Is it this one? Hold on one second. Is it this one? Okay, so next one. Looks like it's this one. Yep. Okay, so we're gonna go back to this end zone angle. And let's see what's going on here pre-snap. Looks like we're calling some. It looked like we might have changed something up there. It's hard to tell from that angle because they don't start it quick enough. But pockets clean. Pockets clean. We're holding up. Give them a clean pocket. Throw it down the field. Accurately thrown. That is pass interference for sure. Thank you. That's Brazzle. Brazzle's back. Love to see it. So next, 1st and 10. Okay. Let me go back to this angle. So now Tennessee's showing, is this okay? So that's not really two backs. That's a wide receiver, but we're showing them side the backfield. Now we motion them out to try to see if the defense does anything with it. No? Okay. Well, guess what? What do we say? Slants. Okay. So we're actually showing up top. What we're showing here is like a little screen. So faking like we're blocking here with the tight end. Come on out because we know that they got to come up based off of a stupid scheme on defense. Stuff is wide open. This is why they lost however many games they lost last season, and they really should have lost more. It's inexcusable to me for you to have this much talent and to be losing ball games. Okay, for there to ever be a question of will they make the playoffs? That's laughable. That's let Hypo have and I'm not taking a shot at our guys by any, but I'm just saying let him have a roster with that much talent, dude. It's not even a question of are we going to win every game? It's by how many points. That's the only question. Can we do it with the type of style and flair that we like? Sure. Kirby can't do that. This is boring football. All right. So let's see what we got here. Boom. All right. Looks like, what is this? This is what in the world? Okay. So that's just come flat down the line of scrimmage. It looks like I don't absolutely love that call. I mean, I understand what we're doing there. It might have been RPO. Looks like it might have been play action. Either way, that's a pretty good job by that corner making a play. There's like one guy on Georgia's roster that I'll really tip my cap to, and that would be KJ Bolden, because that's pretty much fam. He comes from Buford, so he's a really, really good player. And this is what the quarterbacks will have to do. If nothing's there, as y'all can see, they're sitting on all the routes down the field. So now you have to run. And you have to run right here, right now. You got to make something happen. This is the one thing I'm hoping Tennessee can show. Look at that first down. Whenever you can get 10, 12 yards with your legs as a quarterback, that puts a ton of stress on any defense. But I'm hoping that whoever our starter is can do some things like this. Because if no one's open down the field, y'all, you can't force it into coverage. You've got to make something happen in games like this. So do we have that? That's yet to be seen. We're going to find out. We're going to find out, though. I just feel like we have to watch. y'all, we have to watch as much football as possible. At least for me, I watch so much film because football season is not long enough. And I think that what they should try to do is in the month of June, let's do it for, college. I don't think that they would ever do it, but maybe do it for college. Maybe you could even do it for the NFL. Have like a 7-on-7 tournament, something like that. That's a good way to add some money for all these schools. It's a good way to keep the players in good shape. Players can learn. Only thing for me is it's also another opportunity for players to go out there and potentially get injured, which I hate. But I had to throw that out there. It's just, the playoff basketball is not really doing it for me. It's not the same as what it used to be. Obviously we got baseball, softball, all that, which is great. Here it looks like we're trying to run it. I got to see this again. Looks like we're trying to go inside zone. Same defensive front for Georgia. Oh, no, actually, you know what? That was an RPO. So RPO, and it looks like we had a guy, and it ends up getting batted down. Let me see it again from this angle. So that's Brew. Probably would have had him. What's going on at the line of scrimmage here? Because you got to get people's hands down if you know that this could be coming. Yeah. So here, this is Lance. I mean, this is tough, but he's kind of holding up here, just trying to wall this guy off. You gotta hit him low. You know what I'm saying? If you know, hey, the pass could be coming from this side, you got to get his hands down. Like you've got to make him keep his hands down for longer than that. So that's the only thing that I'll say there. I think it was a pretty good call though in that situation. I also feel like our red zone is going to take a big step forward. Like we got to open up this playbook more. Let the running backs use let the quarterbacks use their legs more in these situations. So here, I never really liked this play, but watch a playmaker make a play there, right? I did not like this play was snuffed out from the start. So here, looks like we're going to try to go outside zone, and really not even. I mean, it's like we're going to try to seal that on the end of the line of scrimmage, but they just ate this up. They just ate this up, And is this Lance that can't get his head across there? That's the one thing about running some of this like stretch type of stuff. These big old guys that Tennessee had last year, you got to be able to get your head across quick. And it's tough, but you also have to have some guards that can kind of help slow this guy down just a little bit. Not to go too deep into the weeds, but we just don't do a good job there. But whenever you got playmakers making plays, things like this can happen. That is an incredible run. Incredible. I think that Dylan Sampson was the number 2 running back in the whole country last season, just because Genty was, he was just ridiculous. All right, so now we got, going jumbo. We got some big old guys in there. All right. And we're going to go fullback dive to our tight end, Miles Kitselman. So that's the opening drive, man. We start off with a bang down in Athens. We, go right down the daggum field, okay, running it pretty much at will. And we end up scoring a touchdown. But let me get to the chat. Let me just chime in with what some of the people are saying. Let me see. So this right here is saying, I think that the key to Georgia will be their maybe quarterback play. Okay, yep, quarterback play for sure. What's going on, bro? All right. I know that I have a lot of faith in the new quarterback, but he's still just a starter. And our defense can make him feel the pain. Yeah, I mean, I'm not even worried about him. What's going on, Rhonda? Thank you for joining us. Haven't been able to catch you live lately. Love hearing your positivity. You are very knowledgeable of the game, and I like listening so I can get educated. Thank you for that. I'm always happy to hear that. And this right here saying that next season has to be the year we finally beat Georgia. So the other part of it, y'all, is that if Georgia wins this year, then they will tie our streak of 9 games in a row. That's something that we said, like I remember, back in the 90s, whenever we faced Georgia, again, it wasn't about are we going to win? It was about how much are we going to win by? It was about, maybe some players are kind of off. Can they find their rhythm? Like it was one of those games. It was never even a question. Things have flipped. But I think that Tennessee does have a chance, even though Georgia has a lot more talent. They've always had it. I just think that we're going to outcoach the heck out of these guys. So as a true hate for Georgia, 100%. You better know it. You better know it. This could be the last year Tennessee plays Georgia. Next year schedule flips. Last year Tennessee. Okay, yeah. I hope that we keep on playing them. I do. I'm a cheer for whoever's playing Georgia every single week. I don't even care. Every time. I'm a Tennessee fan first, and I'm whoever's playing Georgia fan second. So this right here is from Devin saying that hype every year to play UGA to get the same results. Yeah, well, I mean that's kind of true. I had to be real. It is kind of true, but the whole thing about it is, again, Tennessee just doesn't really have the talent where the game should never even be close, right? And this was one that I think Tennessee kind of let slip away in some instances, but I think that this year can be different. Will it be different? I don't know. I mean, part of the reason I was so mad, and not to bring it up too much, but part of the reason I was so mad about Nico leaving is because I was like, dude, with what kills these types of defenses, like the coordinators that come from Coach Saban, is the quarterbacks that are mobile. That's what really hurts their defenses. So I felt like this was a year that Tennessee was in a prime spot to be able to beat Georgia, but I still feel like we can pull it off. So I'm not giving up hope. All right, GBO, you already know. And then let's get to this one right here. Yep. Okay, so let's go ahead and get back into the film. So we're going to go to Georgia's second possession. So we can watch it again from this angle. Watch our guys moving bodies. Good job getting over the pal. So, see, that's the thing is, whenever you can win at the line of scrimmage, that's what it's all about. And Tennessee's gotten a lot closer. So here, Georgia's trying to run it. They cannot run it. They just can't. This is crazy. Watch our D-line go to work. Setting up a wall. Linebackers doing a good job coming down, closing. Good job here by, looks like we're actually in a 4-3. So we've actually got, I'm sorry, this would actually be Tennessee's 3-4 technically, but we've got, we've got these three backers, right? So we all know Caleb Perry is gone, but these two will be back. And then we've got another, this will be not 14 is Kristen Charles, but there's a guy up on the line of scrimmage. That would be the other linebacker technically. So this is Tennessee's 3-4. We knew, hey, they're coming out, and how many tights is this? Looks like they got 2, but we could tell based off of something that this is going to be a freaking run play. So let's go big on big and dare these guys to be better than us. And they're not. So great job there. I feel like we're going to be just as strong versus the run, maybe take a little bit of a step back because we don't have as much size with our tackles, but I still think that those are dogs. The pass rush will be, I think, a lot better than it was last season, as crazy as that might sound. Now, Georgia does a lot of this. They might do more of this than anybody in the whole country. I'm pretty sure it's number 1 in the SEC. Wide receiver quick screens. Whenever you think of Tennessee, this is what you think of, right? This is the sound of an offensive coordinator that says, hey, we've got so much talent. I have no idea what to do. Let me just get the football out to my playmakers and let them make plays, which isn't a bad idea. But, I mean, dude, come on. Like, there's just no excuse. There's just no excuse that they can't do more than this. But, they get, how many yards there? 2 or 3? Come on. So this is, it's like 3rd and 4. So they're overloading what they've got. You got 3 wide outs here, then you've got a tight end down bottom. So what you're trying to do is say, hey, we're going to make your best cover guy have to worry about a tight end. I think that this is a tight end. Might be. Looks like that's Oscar Delp. And Tennessee's running a zone. That's what it looks like. Looks like we're in some type of a zone. Are we switching it up? So I would think that in a situation like this, 3rd and 4, where Georgia loves to run like a lot of rub routes, it's tough to play the man-to-man coverage. And I think cover 2 would be a great idea. Actually, this looks like this is cover 2. So I think cover 2 is something that you could play versus Georgia. It feels like a lot of teams that had had some good defenses versus Georgia were playing more cover 2, but also cover 3. It would be pretty solid. But like I said, to start off, if you can play man-to-man coverage, that really is the best coverage. So they're running some like man beaters here. We got who is this that's not making this tackle faster than that? Looks like that's a guy that's not with us anymore. I mean, dude, get in there and make the tackle quick. Get in there. All right, let's go on to the next one. So 1st and 10. So it looks like they did get that first down. All right. Tennessee's running, looks like quarters. So they try to go out to the flats. This is a great job by Joshua Josephs getting his hands up, making a play. Let's see it again from the end zone. Joshua Josephs, of course, is back. Great job. Doesn't really get moved off his spot. Understands what the heck is going on. Quarterback's, getting ready to throw. He's faking that handoff, hands up. Beautiful play. Love that. He's going to do a lot of that. He's one of those players. He makes plays that on all, and that one shows up inside of the stat sheet. But he does a lot of things that people just overlook sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Like it's one of those types of situations. So now they're trying to, go fade down at the bottom here. And actually, this wasn't the best job to kind of start things off by 3 right there. You know what I'm saying? Kind of, just a little bit, but good job of, coming over, closing. We got the safety help over the top. This is a 3-step drop. Like we said, they're going to do a lot of quick game stuff. It's going to be, hey, 1, 2, 3, throw the football. This is how Georgia likes to operate. So it's going to be the exact same thing next year. And again, I don't know if I said this or not, but one of the biggest differences for this team is I think that the quarterback takes several steps back, but the wide receivers might take a little bit of a step forward. That's possible. That's possible. So with these screens and stuff, you got to come up and you got to make tackles. So it might not be the worst strategy. Now they're going empty here. Going empty. Another screen dropped. Drop. Did he hear some footsteps? Was he scared? I sure hope so. Like, you want these guys to be scared. You want them to know, hey, and this is a good job too by this linebacker. Again, I think that's Jalen Smith. He's not going to be here, but watch him versus offensive lineman. Good job there. And he gets pushed in the back. Nobody calls that, right? Didn't too much matter, but either way, I'm just kind of pointing out that our linebackers they haven't always done the best job of it, but there's something that they need to take a step forward with. So now this is Tennessee back on offense. Let's see how the second drive goes. You're seeing a lot more pre-snap movement versus Georgia. You have to do that. I've been very vocal about, it's great to run tempo and all that, but at some point you got to slow things down so that you can get a good look at this defense and catch them off guard in a different way where you've got, where you're actually setting things up that's going to work, because just going fast, if people are sitting on those option routes, that's not really going to help, So, and then they love to do that late shift, try to throw people off. It's not fooling us. We've seen it, long enough. We know what the heck's going on. Let your playmakers make some plays. So that was a good one. That looked better than what Georgia did with it, right? So 1st and 10. 1st and 10, bunch of things up just a little bit more. All right, things are picked up pretty well. Nothing's really open down the field, is it? Okay, so look, everything's covered up down the field. This is what I was talking about, except for this guy. So he would actually be open. And like I've said, with Tennessee's offensive system, it's really about half-field reads. So he was probably reading this side. Nico was probably reading this side, this top side up here, and not so much this side. But if we could have real full-field reads, which we might have more of this year because we have pistol, then you come all the way over. You see, hey, I've got a guy down there. But because it's pretty much 2 reads and then go, you got to try to get outside the pocket. If a guy pops open down the field, you can throw it. If not, then you've just got to try to make something happen with your legs. So, again, do we have the quarterbacks who can do that? You got to be able to do that if you want to beat Georgia. You at least need to have that threat. What's going on up front? Pretty decent job here. Pretty decent job. Like I said, we picked this blitz up. They love to run this same old, overload one-side blitz, slanting over here. You know what I'm saying? They're going to slant these linemen to this side. They're going to, bring those guys on that side, try to throw you off. They do the same stuff all the time. There's no secret to what they're doing. And then something else that they love to do. Look at this. They love to mug and hold folks, don't they? This is one of the most undisciplined, unwell-trained secondaries on the face of this planet. These guys they're going to hold you. They're going to mug you. Will the refs call it? 99% of the time, they won't call a thing. This is big-time PI. That is big time. No one even, they don't even think about throwing that. But, yeah, I'm going to do my best to try to hype things up leading up to this game about, hey, we got to throw flags on these guys. It's pass interference. Now, we're also going to see a ton of this from their defense. Too high look, man coverage underneath that. So this is a cover 2 man. They love to run this. You should be able to run at this all day long, especially with a mobile quarterback. You should be able to run down teams' throats whenever they're running this type of stuff. So one of the things about UGA, because of that mid front, they're able to slow down the run. And this isn't even with that mid front, but they are able to slow down the run with just 3 or 4 guys. So it's not a ton of push there, right? And that's Spraggins here. Let me pause it. This is Spraggs. Can we get the movement with Sam Pendleton? Sam Pendleton's not going to be as heavy as Spraggs was. But maybe he can get a little bit of movement. Like I said, in a situation like this, maybe an outside zone might benefit you, right? But because you could have some room out here if you've got the guys that can execute that, that type of stuff. But either way, you have to try to keep these guys honest. So you're going to run a lot of plays like that. It doesn't look like much is going on, but every play isn't drawn to get you a touchdown. So let's see this next one. This is cover 3. Looks like this is cover 3 seams. So they got 3 high. They're trying to, keep us from going deep. So we'll just take the underneath stuff, excellent route combinations. Look how far off they're playing. These guys are scared for their life. Look at this. 10 yards off of this guy? Really? Come on, dude. Come up and challenge us some. But if they'll do that, I'll take it, because we got dogs as wide receivers. They want to make plays. They'll run through people. I want to see guys like Travis Smith in this game. You want to talk about these Georgia boys coming back home? They can't wait to see him. They can't wait to try to run through somebody's face. All right. That's what we're built off of. I cannot wait for this game. I'm not going to say this is my Super Bowl. Kind of is, though. You know what I mean? Like, it kind of is. I hate Georgia. All right. Let's go on to this next one. So here, all right. So just inside zone there. I love the movement. Looks like we got some good movement coming here. All right. So pretty good job. Guys are choosing the wrong side. That actually looks good from Cooper Mays. You see daggum Lance Hurd left side just dogging somebody out. You love to see that. Then you got Dane Davis doing a pretty decent job there. You got to hold on. I actually like this combo with Spraggs working. Boom, hit him there, help him out. Let's get up to the second level. Running back uses his eyes well. We're going to fall forward. Love that type of football. Smash mouth. Let's see what we got. 1st and 10. Boom. Try to go through here. Now y'all can see that they're showing 3 deep. So this is actually cover 2. This is cover 2. This is Tampa 2. He's going deep. He's going deep. So both this is deep. This is deep half. This is deep half. He's actually playing cover 2. So we saw that the Buckeyes did this, and I said he's playing cover 2. He's playing almost like a deep third, right? So with the Tampa 2, this guy, it's simply going to sometimes it's with the linebacker that drops back really deep in that cover 2 coverage, but he's going to kind of play more like the middle of this field. But the Buckeyes did a lot of this. It can be tough. So you can see how the rest of it looks. Just dump it off. Beautiful job. I think they only brought 3 there. So they're dropping it, only bringing 3. We have all day. So looks like they brought the 4th guy late. Good job getting it out. We had to make catches here. Had to make catches there. That could have been dangerous, but we will go on. Y'all can see that we've actually had some things kind of drawn up, right? Let me go back. What was this? So this is a 3rd and 7. Let's see what we do here on 3rd and 7. Looks like they're trying to show some pressure. Will they actually bring it? Nope, they got a spy on the quarterback there. Look at this. So nothing's really open downfield. Really nothing's open, but you got to be able to make these types of throws when people are covered up. This is what I was talking about. Do we have guys who can do this? Excuse me. I would say that yes, we do, right? Like you got to be able to zip that thing in there, right? Flick of the wrist, zip it into tight coverage. All right, there's my guy. Easy pitch and catch. Look at that ball placement there. My goodness, gorgeous. So we get feet and bounds, 1st down. 1st down. Quarterbacks have got a ball in this game. What do we got? So it looks like what did they call? A penalty on that last play? This is 3rd and 7 again. I don't know if I like that. Why on a was this this has to be 1st and 10. Okay, yeah, I was gonna say. All right, so this is 1st and 10. So now I like this a lot better. 1st and 10, inside zone, insert from the tight end. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. You get your 3-4 yards of pop. You see that we're moving bodies. Moving bodies. Man, great job right there by Cooper Mays. Beautiful. So 1st and 10. Well, I think that thing might be a little bit behind. So this looks like this is like 2nd and 5 or 6, maybe 7. Slow, long delayed, fake right there with the handoff. Everything's covered up downfield. We're not doing a very good job of holding up. So they're bringing pressure, and we end up getting sacked. But y'all see everyone's covered up down the field. Let's see it again from this end zone angle. What happens here? Oh. I mean, look at this side here. Just a quick swim move. It's tough whenever they got guys that are over 300 pounds that are this twitchy. Boom. I mean, hold on to them a little bit longer, trying to make some things happen, but they're seeping through everywhere. But this is why. So we've got, and you can't see him, but we've got Dylan Sampson standing here to try to help us block. Work him out. You know what I mean? I think we'll do more of that. Instead of him trying to hold up and block, let him come on out here because now he's going to be open. If not, he's got to cover him, right? So then that gives Nico or the quarterback a little bit more of a lane to be able to run. So that's just one of my things. And it probably still wouldn't have been there. But sometimes sometimes you just lose reps. That's one that Tennessee lost. So now this is probably going to be a 1st and 10. Oh, I don't know what thing's going on here. So this is what? Maybe, okay, looks like there was a penalty there. I'm not quite sure what the down the distance is, but either way, what's going on down the field? So they're playing quarters. All right, looks like this is quarters, and where everything is deep. Everything is deep. And that was the only guy who might have, had a chance of being open. Right there is where the ball goes. So let's see it again from this angle. You got to do a lot of this in Tennessee's system, man. Look at that. I guess that's not really that. You could call this. You could call this a penalty. He didn't need to do that. So let's see. Is this thrown accurately? Nah. So that's not an accurately thrown football. But obviously that's a tough one. That would be a tough one. So let's go on to this next one. 1st and 10. All right. So now we got. My bad, y'all. Let me come back to this end zone angle or sideline. Let me see. Boom. I think right here. Okay, so now we got UGA with the football. And this is like we're back in that 3-4. Looks like we've got 4 backers out there. If you're talking about Leo, Tennessee, I mean, not Tennessee, but Georgia tries to get the ball out to the flats. And we're playing cover 3. Great job by the cornerback here and also getting held. Watch this. Watch our guy here. Watch him trigger up and then watch him get held. Watch him get tackled. That's a hold. That's a big-time hold. Does it get called? Probably not, but this is also a good job. Let me come back to the end zone angle. Who was this sticking their neck in there making a play? Oh, was that Ricky Gibson that does the job, coming up, being physical? Who was this other guy that's coming over making a play? Okay, so that was Jalen Smith. Jalen Smith getting out there, making a play. I think that we have guys who can do that. Okay, there's the flag. Good. I was gonna say, if y'all don't call that, just ridiculous. 1st and 10. All right, so back them up some. Sideline. Looks like this is 12. Georgia loves to stay in 12 personnel, and then that's just a run up the middle. Obvious run. So obviously what they like to do is whenever they tighten things up with their, like in a 12 personnel situation close to their own end zone, they want to try to run it. So we had one high on that. Might be 2nd and 7. Like I said, sometimes that thing does get off. I don't know. Fast forward, get them going. So now they're stacking up wide receivers, going to motion the guy, show a little insert there. So he does insert. That's a pretty good job by our guys inside of the box here. We got AC on that left side moving around. Okay, so looking at what Jalen Smith does, do we have guys who can do a little bit better here? Because he's going to get fooled with his eyes. Well, maybe he doesn't get fooled too much. He just doesn't. You got to be taking steps more towards this line of scrimmage here, just a little bit more. If you see it, get in there, make the play just a little bit faster. But our guys up front, who was that? Bryson Eason taking on a double team. Watch Bryson Eason here taking on a double team from these guys, and then disengage. Let me make this play. Good job setting a strong edge here. That's Jason Jenkins. He's gone. He's getting held. Okay, he's getting held. All right, good job. Good job. Yeah, I mean, I think that we'll hold up well versus Georgia's run. Will their running game be better than it was last year? I mean, it might be a little bit. Will they try to stick to it more? I kind of doubt it. So now they're spreading things out and they're trying to go middle of the field. With that slant, that's not going to work. Let's see it again from the end zone. Might be a better look for us. So that's just not going to work. 3-step drop. It's not even an accurately thrown football. There was no reason. Okay, because it was tipped. All right, so that's Big O making a play. Guys have got to do that. I'm happy to see it. I think that from 2023 to 2024, there was a point of emphasis with our team on, hey, guys, get your hands up at the line of scrimmage. 3-step drops, get your hands up. I think we did a better job of that in 2024. So anyway, this is next possession here. We've got kind of like an in route. It's a slant, but he does a good job of keeping flat there. And I'm talking about Brew down at the bottom. Does a good job keeping flat. And, of course, he's going to try to make a play. That's what he always does. And then I love that. I love that. You got to be an attitude. You have to have that dog. You have to play with an attitude. Like I said, I think that all of our wide receivers, same thing. We're going to see a whole lot of that, right? Like, and that's just Tennessee. We have guys that are dogs. We have guys that are tough. Okay, these guys will play with a chip on their daggum shoulder. Look at this offensive line. Push some folks around. That's got to make you feel good, y'all. It's got to make you feel great. So this is a 1st and 10. All right. Looks like I think we're in the 2nd quarter. I didn't even check that. So looks like we're going 12 here. Bunch it up. Tennessee loves to do this and try to go downfield with RPO. But Georgia, what they're doing here is they're keeping 4 deep, right? So they've got all these guys here. So there is no real RPO option. Typically, Tennessee would be looking at the safeties. Will one of these safeties come down? If they do, then somebody's open deep. That's where we want to try to throw it. But see, they're sitting on everything. The only thing that actually probably was open is this right here. Probably could have thrown that. But like I said, a lot of times it's like half field. So this is probably where we're going basically pre-snap. So just didn't even have time, right? Like we just don't have time. They're not bringing that much pressure, but we'll see it again. So boom, you know what I mean? Just don't really have the time. Try to make something happen. Guys are getting popped. You know what I mean? Guys are getting absolutely popped. We're kind of, we got bodies kind of flying everywhere. So let's go on to this next one. So let me pause it so I can see what is this quarter. Okay, so we're still in the 1st quarter. We might just have to end it on the 1st quarter. So this is 3rd and 6. This is 3rd and 6. And now they're showing the pressure, try to run it there. So this is another situation where, look, quarterback's got to keep this, right? I mean, I don't know if this was a real true option, but this is what you want to do versus Georgia. Put their players in a conflict by, hey, we're showing it here, but quarterback can run. So you can't help out with the running back run. You've got to always be keyed in on our quarterback. That's why it's so critical to have the quarterbacks that can move with this type of defense. That's got a lot of talent that plays these type of fronts. So let me go back. I'll show it to you from this end zone angle. Dang, I wonder why. Weird. Let me go back. I think we missed. Okay, yeah. So would it be this one? Might be this one here. Let me see. Is this the one? Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, just nobody. I mean, I don't know what is happening here, but this can't be right. Like, we can't just chip this guy and then try to get up to the 2nd level. I think we need to. I mean, I don't know. It could be right, but that does not look like that's correct. I think that you want to try to take care of the line of scrimmage guys first. So sometimes you will have those busts and things like that. All right. 1st and 10 for UGA. They're bunching things up. What do y'all think is coming here? Looks like, play action. They've done it several times where they're showing, hey, run here, run here. Now on the third time, we're going to try to throw it over your heads. And really, I don't know why we aren't covering this, because this was open. I don't know why we don't stick with that. This might have been open at some point. That's open. So this wasn't a very good play call. I think that they caught us probably playing. Let's go and look at the box. They probably caught us. Is this nickel? Yeah. Okay. So never mind. I was going to. No, it's not. Yeah. So yes. Okay. So this might be nickel. It's hard for me to tell because I can't see the whole field. But I was going to say, since Tennessee kept on running a bunch of backers versus this type of a look, you say, well, let's play action and let's try to see if these backers can cover it down the field. But that's just part of the chess match. Either way, dude, let's see what AC's doing here. So this is a good job by Don Baylor. Looks like pretty good job. Okay, so he's gonna try to attack that. I think we got to get outside this a little bit faster here. Make him pay for that. So, no one's open. This is really good coverage. Who is that? Is that J-Mac coming from the back? So, boy, he's on his horse, isn't he? I think that this might be J-Mac, y'all. Watch the way that he's on his horse trying to cover this. That is a big-time play. That's a big-time play. He's back. Love it. All right, so I think we might just go through the end of the first quarter because this thing will end up getting long. Y'all know that I hate Georgia. Maybe we'll do first quarter today, then we'll go to the second quarter, maybe tomorrow or something, if y'all like this, just to try to keep it as short as possible. But right there, we've just got inside zone. We've got a lot of movement that's coming late. I'm not sure. Obviously, we have to work on this. Like, we have to be a lot cleaner. I think that we've got probably AC trying to come out and maybe guard one of these guys. But then we said, no, we want you inside of or you're supposed to be here. So, he's coming over late. So Boo's out there to kind of cover things up. And then obviously we're not in the best spot to be able to make a play. Let's sit again from the end zone here. So going out there because we think that we have to, now we got to come back to the box. So, if you look at the way that we come in late, boy, our defensive line is so freaking good. Look at Omar Norman a lot, y'all. Look at this second round draft pick, y'all, to the Kansas City Chiefs. Absolute dog. I think that we've got several guys that could mimic some of what he's doing here. Just look at the speed, look at the strength, look at the power, look at hey, I'm not going to get beat by you or by two. We are relentless. We want to win bad. These guys are dogs. Like, this is what I call dogs. I love watching these guys go to work, y'all. Look at Big E. Pay attention to Big E's violence here. Violent, boom, moving, twitchy. Who is this playing in here? Look at that. Big old Don Bailey getting the freaking chest to chest battle. Boy, I love to see. See, this is why I love football season, y'all. This is why it's different. You don't get this type of stuff with any other sport. No other sport can you see this. This is why we love it so much. All right, let me get on. So they're spreading things out. We got to be careful jumping. I think that's James Pierce. They're going to try to hard. They're going to try to hard count you because they're terrified of the pass rush. This is getting towards the end of the half. So, and this is just an inexcusable. Why don't we make this play here? This is a really good pass. I have to give him credit for that. This is a very, very good pass. We're running four there. The only thing that I will say is, could we have dropped a little bit more on this? For sure. I think that you got to drop more there. You got to drop more here. We're covering too much grass. Okay? Covering too much grass. Guys aren't getting home. That's not, all this stuff works hand in hand. And then we got to make a freaking tackle. Let's see it again. We got to make a tackle here. We got to make the, who was this? Who was that closes their eyes? Was that Andre Turntine? I think it was. Looks like Andre Turntine coming over right here. Looks like he might have closed his eyes there. And I don't know what the hell that was. We can't have that. We're just going to give these guys a free, easy field goal that they didn't earn. They didn't earn that. All right, so that's going to be it, man. I think that we'll stop it right there, y'all. I'm going to try to get back to the chat just because I know that we've been here for a long time going through it. You know what I'm saying? Going through this film. But I think that we'll turn this into like a series where maybe every day we'll go quarter by quarter with the teams that we're playing up against and just kind of scout them, talk about what we see from them. If y'all like that, we could definitely do it. But let me try to get back to some more of these chats. I'm going to try to see if I can get to everybody. If I missed, okay, let me see. What all do we have? We were to do a lot. Okay, yeah. So we were able to do a lot because defense is feared descent. Yeah. What is this right here? Bull, who do you think will be our starting running back? I don't know. So I know that in the thing that I put up, it says Peyton Lewis. It could be Peyton Lewis. It could be Bishop. I think that, either way, Tennessee's going to be fine with our running backs. I think we've got a stable of guys. So sorry, room. I'm in Colorado and sometimes miss Bulls videos. So thank you for that, man. Hey, that's perfectly fine. I'm cool with all those questions. So asking, do I think that Lance Hurd will be the anchor for the line? I think that we've got some guys. So listen, I love Lance Hurd. I think that he takes a big step forward because we talked about it last year. He was out of shape, and then he was also dealing with some injuries. So he comes back, I think, a lot healthier, in a lot better shape. And if you look at the guy next to him, Wendell Moy, I love his game. Y'all gonna love Wendell Moy. He's a dog, and he's really good. I think that Sam Pendleton, if he starts at right guard or at center, love his game. I think that he's a dog too. We heard some of the things that he said. Will it be William Satterwhite starting at center? I think that he's by this game, hopefully we can be kind of like get into our stride. You got to find it early for us this year. But I think that David Sanders, love him. I think that by the end of the year, he's going to be one of the best offensive linemen in the whole doggone country. As crazy as that might sound to say as a true freshman. So I'm saying all that just to say, I don't know if we're going to just have one anchor. I think that we've got some guys that are really, really good, and then we've got some good depth also. So we've done a good job of getting some players that aren't going to be as highly ranked as what you see with Georgia's offensive line, but making them what will feel like we're doing more with. I hate to say it this way, but maybe more with less. I think we have a better staff than Georgia does. People will say that's crazy, but again, let Coach Heupel, let this staff have the talent on paper of what Georgia has. It's not a matter of will they win the national championship. It's a matter of how much will they dominate on their way to a for sure championship. You don't see that with UGA. So MGA saying GBO. Hopefully this thing isn't messing up. Looks like I might be having some technical difficulties. So this game could go either way. I'm thinking and hoping that this year could finally be a win for us. All right, let me get to these next few. I'm a Georgia boy too. This is my Super Bowl. Definitely feel you on that. Hopefully this thing isn't messing up too bad for you, but I can see that I might be having some technical difficulties. It is getting close to storming. Okay, so dang, screen is froze. Hopefully y'all can still hear me if the screen is indeed froze. Oh, dang, the tape is frozen. Dang it, y'all. Hate that. Saying that. Okay, so that the defense will carry UT again this year. Okay, listen, I'm sorry for that, y'all. Sometimes we do have those technical difficulties. I'm not quite sure what it is, but something is going on, I think, in this area because we've been having it here more and more frequently. But like I said, the weather is kind of bad, so that could be part of it. Either way, I think that we will be coming back tomorrow with some more. But thank y'all. As always, y'all, please do make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks. Peace. Thanks for watching, and please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel because that keeps us growing inside of the YouTube algorithm. And if you did like this video, here's another one that you might also enjoy. Thank you. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.